Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Boys, the stakes get a little bit bigger this week. Tennessee set to take on NC State Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern time kickoff. We talked a lot about Nico yesterday, right? Put out a video talking about the national media. All eyes are on Nico. He is him. Came out yesterday. Nico was actually the SEC Freshman of the Week. Finished that game 22 of 28, 314 yards, 3 touchdowns passing, most passing yards in a half ever by a quarterback at the University of Tennessee. Now, the reactions to that video were interesting. Most of you guys, I would say the higher percentage of you guys are bought in. You are sold. You have seen enough from Nico in the bowl game against Iowa, in week 1 against Chattanooga. You are all in on Nico Iamaleava. You guys know the story on this channel. One of the co-hosts has gone as far to say Nico is going to be the best quarterback in the history of Tennessee football. That is a bold statement. Coach Jay has also said that it's up to Nico. Nico's got to go out and he's got to prove it on the grass. Now, the other side of this thing, some of you guys aren't bought in yet. Some of you guys haven't seen enough yet. Some of you guys are saying, well, Boogie, it's just Chattanooga. He didn't look that impressive. You're not looking at the arm talent and some of the throws that he made. That's what I loved about yesterday's video, and hearing from guys like Aaron Murray, who played quarterback in the SEC, say, look at this throw. There is no way I would have pulled the trigger because I didn't have the arm talent to make that throw, but Nico does. Those type of statements, those type of guys, David Pollock saying there's been a lot of impressive debuts, but there has never been more hype or more expectations on a quarterback, maybe ever, than there are on Nico Iamaleava right now, and he lived up to that hype and then some. We've seen Cole Kublik in the media today talking about Nico, but some of you guys, a small percentage of you guys, have not bought in yet. You're saying we're not ready. We're not ready for NC State. But then on the other side of your mouth say it's just Chattanooga. But guess what? It could also just be Western Carolina. NC State trailed 21-17 going into the fourth quarter of that game last week against Western Carolina. Put the shoe on the other foot. What if we were coming off of that game and they were coming off of a dominant 69-3 performance and everybody in the national media was talking about Grayson McCall? I think we would be a little bit more concerned than we are right now. So are we not ready for NC State? Tennessee favored by almost a touchdown. ESPN FBI has Tennessee at an 88% chance to win this game. Heupel met with the media yesterday. I think Heupel knows his football team is good. I think you can see it on his face. I think he's ready to go to work. I think he knows just how good they are. Now, something worth noting, he did mention that Ricky Gibson is good to go in this game. I think that's huge. I think Jermod McCoy looked really good at corner on Saturday against Chattanooga, and I think if you throw Ricky Gibson on the other side, I think our corners are going to be pretty good. He mentioned a couple of other players, didn't mention them by name, that kind of said they were in that same scenario, could have played last week if they needed them. Felt it was better for their football team to hold those guys out a week. I believe Mike Matthews is probably the other guy he's talking about there. Also mentioned Emmanuel Okoye is out for the year with a torn ACL. Thoughts and prayers to him. Hope he bounces back and recovers. I don't think that's going to hurt this football team. We know how deep we are at the edge position, but you wish that kid the best. He's kind of raw. He's an athlete, but he's not played a whole lot of football. Excuse me. You really wish he had this year to kind of develop and grow. One thing that I liked from Heupel when he did meet with the media was focusing on the next game. This is what Josh Heupel had to say about that.
Everybody faces the same challenge. As a competitor, you can live in what everybody's talking about last week. The reality is you're only as good as your next performance. So prepare, practice the right way, and get ready to go play.
All that stuff about Chattanooga, all the time, the hype and the talk about Nico. Josh Heupel doesn't care. It's ready to move ahead to the next game. It's coach speak. It's cliche, but you take them one at a time. But guess what? We as fans, we don't have to do that. I can be talking about the Georgia game right now. It has absolutely no impact on this game coming up against NC State. Going to listen to some other quotes from Josh Heupel about this game coming up. But as always, I need you guys to do that YouTube stuff for me. Just smash the thumbs up. just below the video. It helps the channel. It's quick, free, and easy. We're playing an algorithm game. We're trying to get this video out in the algorithm of YouTube so we can continue to grow this community. Some of you are attacking the comment section. You don't have a comment, you don't have a question, you just put a GBO. That helps this channel. If you're new here, welcome. We're not experts or insiders or media or journalists or reporters. We don't pretend to be any of that. We don't pretend to know more than you guys know. What we are here is fans. We're just like you guys, for the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe, click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video live later tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be playing some EA Sports College Football. Oh, by the way, we can boost stats now. We can edit players. So all the old players from NCAA 14, you guys have been transformed into EA Sports College Football. So we're going to get that rolling tonight. Also, 4-star edge rusher, Tennessee commit Jaden Lofton has challenged me to a game. So that's how we're going to kick off tonight at 6:30. We're going to have Jaden on the show, talking to him about his knee injury, how he's focused and dialed in and on that rehab, trying to get back, get ready when he shows up on Rocky Top. Talkin VAWLS live Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure you tune in for that as well. But let's jump into it. Let's hear from Josh Heupel as he talks about this NC State football team that Tennessee is going to take on Saturday night at 7:30.
Players were in this morning, got an opportunity to learn from the film, and got a big football game this week. Really good opponent that we're playing. They play all three phases of the game really well together. Defensively, they've been really good, and it'll be a great test for us up front and on the perimeter and at quarterback. And offensively, they got a really experienced quarterback, got playmakers around him, and their special teams are really good too. So huge test for us this week, one that we're excited about. Traveling a few hours down the road, look forward to seeing Vol Nation show up and be a great contest. Open it up.
You mentioned their transfer quarterback, Grayson McCall. Didn't look that great against Western Carolina, I didn't think. Still threw for over 300 yards. Also had 3 touchdowns, had an interception on the day. And look, we talk about Western Carolina. That's not the team Tennessee's going to see on Saturday. No, they're not going to see that NC State team that limped to a victory against Western Carolina. I think NC State is going to show up, and I think they're going to be ready to play. I still like Tennessee in this game. I think Tennessee, I've said it all offseason. I've said it after last week. I think Tennessee still wins this game by 2 scores. Talked about the playmakers around him, the one everybody's got circled on the roster, the one everybody's going to be talking about this week leading up to the game is Kevin Concepcion. 9 catches, 121 yards, and 3 touchdowns against Western Carolina. Also a year ago had 800 yards receiving, 300 yards rushing. Heupel talked about him a little bit, said he's got elite speed, he's got really good hands, said they do a good job moving him around, finding space for him to operate. He's strong and explosive. Got to know where he is at on the field at all times. He's a guy that primarily plays in the slot. They'll move him into the backfield. They'll move him to the outside. They'll use him in the flats. They'll take him on the deep seam route. They get him all over the field. So Tennessee is going to have to do a good job keeping an eye on him. Be interesting to see, is Boo Carter at that star position? Is Boo Carter matched up one-on-one with Kevin Concepcion? That's something I'm going to have my eyes on Saturday night. Talked a little bit about the defense. NC State led the ACC in interceptions a year ago. Said the secondary has some transfers that they brought in. Said they play complementary on all 3 levels, particularly when they go into zone coverage, but said they'll also bring good pressure and make it uncomfortable on your quarterback. But I like Nico. I like me some Nico in those situations. Cool, calm, collected, composure, goes through his reads, goes through his progressions. I think Nico's going to ball out on NC State. Will you guys buy in at that point? Those that are saying, we're not ready, we need to see more. What'll it take? Is it a win over NC State, or do you move the goalposts again? Because some of you moved the goalpost when he went out and beat Iowa 35-0. Oh, that defense wasn't as good as everybody thought it was. He goes out and dominates and break records that Peyton Manning didn't set, records that Condridge Holloway. Some of you got mad at me for not saying T. Martin. All those quarterbacks played against inferior talent. Nico, in game 1, threw for more yards than any other quarterback in a half. When is it going to be enough? When are you going to buy in? Does it take a win over Alabama, Georgia? Is it a national championship? Let's hear more from Josh Heupel. This one gets me fired up. This one is where Josh Heupel knows he's got a good football team. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, for sure. Just, I think I've said it before, but, as we've had to navigate our roster, build our roster back from when I first got here, while taking some deductions, this is certainly the deepest that we've been, and we're close to being at full strength. Not quite there yet, but this will be the last year that we're a little bit thin, but as a whole, just the development, the body types, athleticism that we have, this definitely is the deepest that we've been.
The depth, the body type, the athleticism. Man, I remember being at the spring game, me and Nelson sitting there watching the game on the big screen outside the stadium. Edwin Spillman pops up on the screen, and I said, good Lord, man, he looks like an SEC linebacker. Nelson looked over at me and said, Boogie, he's been on campus for 2 weeks. And I said, exactly. We are recruiting SEC type of athletes and players. We're developing them. The strength program has been very successful since Josh Heupel has arrived. But again, we just look like a football team, but the development is there. The evaluation is there. We are deep. But I like that Heupel said, we're deep, but we're not there yet. We're close. The class of 2025 currently sitting at 7th in the country. You got the number 1 player in the entire country committed in the class of 2026. So you are already starting to build the future of Tennessee football. I think if we go out, we ball out, we take care of business, 10-2 college football playoff appearance, I think recruiting is only going to get stronger. So are we ready? Or are we not ready? Are we ready for NC State? Are you bought in on Nico Iamaleava, or do you need to see more? And if you're one of the few, it's not a lot. If you're one of the few that needs to see more, what do you need to see, and when is enough enough? When are you going to start to buy in? When are you going to jump on the hype train? I want to hear from you guys in the comments. As always, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the Talkin VAWLS merchandise. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link is also right down below in the description. Shout out to the members of the channel. You give me an opportunity to come on here and talk football every single day. Without your memberships, this doesn't happen. If you're not a member, think about hitting that join button over there. It's just $1. It's right beside subscribe. It's $1 a month. That's it. You get custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, access to fan call-ins. I try to highlight your comments on the live streams, but more importantly, you're supporting a channel that's for the fans, by the fans. But that is going to do it for this one. Appreciate you guys tuning in. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.